Having spent a bit of time discussing the worst releases of 2017, I think it's time to start talking about the best. Starting with the EPs. If you aren't sure what an EP is, they're essentially like an album's younger sibling. A collection of tracks much like an album, but a little bit shorter, a little bit easier to digest in just one simple snack. As usual, if you want to read a written version of this list, you can check a blogspot link in the description where I have a blog with all the lists. I'm putting up written versions of those lists. And also, I have some honourable mentions to get out of the way, just quickly. Primary Colours put out a couple of great EPs this year, my favourite in retrospect being Jam. This Newcastle indie band is making a lot of great waves with a strong Britpop influence from the 90s, and it's a lot of fun. The Deer Hunter put out a nice collection of pop-flavoured tracks, not exactly on the prog side like their older material, but it's still really nice, it's still quite lush and lovely and catchy as well. Speaking of pop music, GROUPLOVE put out a Little Mess EP, and I honestly think Little Mess is worlds better than Big Mess. I just think that these tracks are so much more adventurous. FLUME also continues to prove his creativity in bringing future bass and wonky to mainstream electropop with the second of his Skin companion EPs. KAMASI Washington put out a really nice spiritual jazz EP, one that isn't necessarily as bloated or as tiresome as the Epic, which I still liked, but I just thought it kind of was a little long-winded. DYNASTIC with Space and Summer, a goofy, colourful EP that sounds like a video game soundtrack from something like Sonic, an older Sonic game. And finally, I have to shout out Debutante and Feral's Split EP, a very harrowing EP about dysphoria, where Feral, during the first half, does a bit of a post-punk thing, very crunchy, very pummeling, whereas on the latter half, Debutante does a bit of a droney thing, simultaneously beautiful and harrowing. Those were all my honourable mentions out of the way. It is time to get into the top 10. At number 10, it's the orchestral pop band The Family Crest with a set of tracks that are not only their danciest but also their most energized.
Oh no, as we move along our way, we leave pieces as we go, just moments for the dark, we're shaking on this.
The very first track, Sparks, kind of sets me out on this like great adventure, whereas Mirror Love just makes me want to boogie. This thing is extremely creative and I really look forward to Act 1 of the War series that is coming out next year. At number 9, it's an EP from the band that is always shifting in styles, ULVER. This year kind of went for a synth pop sound. Did Depeche Mode a little bit better than Depeche Mode this year. And I absolutely loved The Assassination of Julius Caesar. The album, not witnessing the actual event happen in front of my eyes. And this EP, titled Sic Transit Gloria Mundi, actually did that in one go, is a great follow-up of other tracks in this style that continues the great grooves but also the gothic campiness that kind of made the original album kind of fun to listen to. At the number 8 spot is a 7-inch which I had a lot of fun biting down on earlier this year. Oh my gosh. It is Rat Cage with Caged Like Rats. A very brutal burst of hardcore punk energy that is just not letting go up until its last moments. At number 7, of course, it's Death Grips. Who else? With high BPMs and manic scatterbrained compositions, this thing sounds like the soundtrack for a space battle, where asteroids are crashing into other asteroids, and those bits of asteroids are crashing into spaceships, and those bits of spaceships are crashing into other spaceships. At number 6, I'm going to give it to an indie rock band from Spain. Very fun, very catchy, very post-punky as well. No Crafts, with no arts, no crafts. An EP which I loved a lot earlier in the year. At number 5, it is a truly epic synthwave release from Perturbator with New Model. At number 4, it is some of the grittiest, filthiest techno I heard all year. It is, I don't know how to pronounce this one, SCHWEFELGELB with DAHINTER das GESICHT. Fuck me. Just know that this is a hypnotic techno release that really just goes in, pounding right into your ears. At number 3, it is Rena Sawayama with the Rena EP, a fantastic old school R&B inspired album, yet also sounds very futuristic and like so soaked in the digital age.
Every single day I fight another war. Every single night I feel more powerful.
Clarence Clarity helps out with the production, but also Rena provides the insane charisma as an artist to kind of channel that old school sound while also providing a very great personality of her own. The second track on here sounds like the Kim Possible theme, and the final track on this EP, Cyber Stockholm Syndrome, is absolutely phenomenal. The bridge on that track just gives me absolute chills, and the duet with Shamir on this EP is also extremely dreamy. But at number 2 we have Denzel Kearney with 13. It is only a 13-minute EP, but that also leaves you no excuse to not listen to it.
Welcome to the cellar, propelled into a realm, so then you meet me at the helm like Dale, so you can know that I'm funky as ever. Like Zephyr, the pain is down the hill, my brain is made of steel.
Denzel Kearney delivers killer flows over a very set of savage, grimy beats, like this thing's been caked with dirt. It's like the before image in a Bam and the Dirt Is Gone commercial. It's so good. It's so good. And at number 1, I gave this EP a very late review, but it was a very positive review too. I still keep coming back to this one again and again. It is one of the most promising rap groups that has come out in the past few years, and this is definitely their moodiest and darkest release. But while this does cover a whole bunch of more serious topics, it doesn't stop them from producing some pretty amazing pop rap bops. Some of the best produced and some of the most charismatic and personality rich hip hop music that I have listened to in recent memory. Yep, it is Injury Reserve with Drive It Like It's Stolen.
Go ahead and keep the lights on. I see you sweat, just keep the lights on. Yeah, hands up like black and white's con. Go ahead and clap your hands like you trying to fight song.
This thing really just creeps up on you at the very start. It definitely sounds like it's been set at nighttime. And even when it picks up the pace, gets a little bit of energy and sass into it with See You Sweat, it still sounds so hushed. And if the catchier tracks have that atmosphere, then just imagine the slower ones like North Pole, which is such a cold and devastating track, followed by tracks like Boom Boom Boom, where the piano sample absolutely sounds warped and demented, while Richie absolutely yells for his life, boom boom boom! Like there's some sort of urgency there. I just thought this was a really neat EP, and despite only being an EP with 7 tracks, it is incredibly fulfilling. Even the outro is so like rich and has a lot you can pull out of it. Yep, those were the EPs that I enjoyed the most in 2017.